Welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube. Fan debates, live watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and all the Foxes banter you could ask for. Subscribe now and see the game through Blue Tinted Glasses.
Just into race clear. He's got Jamie Vardy with him. Jamie Vardy sets off. Jamie Vardy! Pull back here for Darwin. Oh, he scored! An absolute belter! That is trademark Abdul Fatahwood.
This one into the box. Nugent over the top. Oh, what a goal! David Nugent's just scored a beauty. He's made Forest look like fools.
Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It's time for Fox's Den. It's a lovely Wednesday evening, and we've got a lot to talk about. Not just the manager, there's a couple other bits and bobs as well. But make sure to get your comments in throughout the course of the stream, and we'll go through it all. I'll bring up as many as we can. Before we get into it, and Neil, what's going on, mate? How's things with you this evening?
I'm a bit irritated tonight. Don't laugh, I've got some serious first world problems. I've bought a new pair of AirPods. And for some reason, Apple, now you can't double tap to skip to the next tune. So Stevie's just done a triathlon. Yeah. Oh, what the hell? How can you run without being... No, you got to hold it and press the...
No. Have you got Gen 3 ones?
4.
The new ones?
I got... trust me, Steve. Generation 4, and you can't double tap. You got...
Yeah, no, I've got the same one. Like the new ones that came out earlier this year. I've got the same ones. If you tap the stem twice, it skips it.
Yeah, but I don't want to tap the stem. You got to... Anyway... It's a proper first-world problem, and I don't know why they fixed it. There was nothing wrong with the old one.
Because I was just doing it, Neil. I was just running with it, going no.
Steve was listening to his Taylor Swift on the treadmill. Steve, talk to me, mate. How are you this evening? You've just had a triathlon training, and you've got a pussy on your desk again.
I've got a cat. Yeah, she always comes and sits next to me, not in front of me now. Whenever I'm on stream, in case I get too angry, and she calms me down. So, I've just done some block training. Anyone that's done a triathlon knows that you have to do sort of sprinting and then cycling and whatever, or swimming, and so I've just taken a couple of you can't see them, but some CBB bears. So it'll calm me down before the end of the stream.
Okay. There you go. Well, yeah, they could sponsor us. They could. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That other brands are available.
No. We I think our fan base, Leicester fans, could do well with them. To be honest with you, so that'd be a good sponsor. Adam, you made the debut on the channel literally 2 days ago on the Corner Show, and you're back already. What's going on, mate? How are you?
Yeah, I've been rushing to the first team like Munger, I feel like, at the minute. All good, thank you. Changed my normal Wednesday plans of watching the show whilst eating my dinner, but yeah, wasn't to be on for me first call up. Yeah,
absolutely, mate. Well, hopefully it goes better than Badialuko's debut, mate.
Yeah, if I get hooked off halfway through, then we know where we're at. Then we'll
get once you make it to 33 minutes, or you've done better than him, so it's all good. Right, let's see who's here in the chat. Hey to advisor. Henry Cartwright on loan also Braybrook as well. A lot of people are talking about it at the moment. Thanks for becoming a member as well, mate. Frankie, as much as Marti is a jolly nice chap, he's just as stubborn as RVN and Enzo. No adaptability whatsoever. Although Enzo's stubborn was okay, right? Because it worked. So it didn't really matter. Jack reckons Jack would wait until March. Let us know why, Jack. Paul, evening to you, mate. Kunal, good evening. Hello to Ryan. Tony says we have won 3 games in 14. Shouldn't even be a debate. Right, okay, let's start it there then with this comment. So, Anil, I'm going to come to you first, mate. So I know where you sit, what side of the fence you sit on. But I want to ask you, I'm going to come on from a different angle. Do you understand where I'm coming from when I say... I don't want to sack Marti, not because of what's happening on the pitch, but all the other stuff, everything other than the football, right? Kind of just where we are at the moment as a club, what's to come as a club, our recent history, right, with how many managers we've had. That's why I would like to stick with him for as long as possible. Do you understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, I do understand. I mean, we said that even in the summer that we need to get behind the manager, and even now, sacking a manager, how much of a difference is it going to make? So I totally understand that. And I do think what we really need is we need a manager who's strong enough to be able to like properly clean out the culture and reboot the entire club, if I'm being honest. But I don't think it's this guy, if I'm being honest. And do you know what? Take personal feelings out of it, right? Because that's what I'm trying to do on all of our shows, right? I just think this is someone I have no attachment to. And just being objective, looking at the data, I mean, someone just said it there, 3 wins in 14 or something like that. Haven't seen a single good performance all season. There's so many things. And so, I said to you guys when we met up for the awards that I don't think he'll be here by the time we get to January. And I still stick to that opinion. Should he? I do understand your argument that you just need someone persevere with them and allow them to rebuild the team. But I still think he's just underperforming massively with what he's got, like massively underperforming. Given the league position, and we're coming around to almost 20 games now. So that's my opinion, but I do get where you're coming from, lots.
Steve, let me come to you next, mate. I mean, Ray says here it's actually relatively simple. We can't sack our way back to respectability, but not even that, Steve. I mean, what do you want from a new manager? If we were to sack Marti and bring one in, what do you think? What do you want, and what do you think we'll get? Because, in my opinion, it's a very narrow-minded way of looking at it. I know, but I see a couple wins, a bounce, and then back to same old, toxicity because we're not winning as many games as we maybe should be. Players who maybe aren't trying. That's where I think we will end up back, but just 2 million down the drain because we've spent it on sacking another manager.
I knew I was going to get the hospital pass. Like, who would you want as the manager? I'm like, oh, here we go. I knew it was going to come to me. Yeah, I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know who's
not
out
who
there.
You want, what you want. What would you want?
I was going to get to that, but yeah. Because nobody ticks the boxes, not even Marti. There's no manager out there that can, that can distill, as you say, respectableness in the squad, that can command the respect of the players, unless they're a world-class previous player, but you're not going to get Zinedine Zidane coming into Leicester, are you? Let's be honest. I'm with a nil in the I try and take the personal things out of it in regards to the decision with the manager, because I feel like, well, what was I listening to earlier? I listened to something earlier about Leicester, and it was about how the first pre-season friendly we had, it was terrible under Marti, and he went in at half-time and had to go at the players and said, if you're not good enough, if you don't want to be here, then leave. Where's that Marti gone? So if there is a Marti that's going to run the riot act, where's he disappeared to? So that's what I want. I want a manager to go in there and stick firm to his belief that we don't need Harry Winks and Wout Faes. If the goal is to just stay up this season at this point, then you don't need them. They don't want to be here anyway. So what I want from a manager is to stand up to these players and say, fair enough, you're not playing, off you go.
Yeah, so I was just making a note of that point so I can come back to that because I want to come back to the Winks and Fast debate. Adam, what about you, mate? Because what do you think would really happen? If we did sack Marti? Because again, I'll admit it is a narrow-minded way of thinking of it. And to be fair, when I say narrow-minded, I mean just the evidence of the last two managers that you sack him, and then you get a little bit of a bounce, and then it kind of goes back to same old. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think obviously in an ideal situation, I mean, I'm like you, Lox, and I think everyone, any supporter, you want to have a long-term manager and a long-term vision. But I think the problem is Marti that, had to hang on. I'm really not sure. Honestly, I'm really not sure. I suppose another question to ask is what do we think is the right decision and what's probably going to happen? Will we make a decision before we get the tactical director in or before we know about the point deduction? I feel like making the decision this rash would be a bit silly until we got all our kind of ducks in order. But it really, if we're not going to invest in January as well, like we can see Marti can't get much out of his squad. I mean, I looked at the data. We're 18th. I don't know what people like with expected goals, but we're 18th for expected goals. This squad is better than that for me. We relied a lot on the start of the season of scoring worldies outside the box, and even did on Saturday with Jordan James. But we're just not creating hardly any enough chances. And I think this squad is better than being down at 16th, 17th. Is it top of the league? No, but should we probably be in the playoffs? I think Marti, should be getting more out of that squad for me.
Anil, what did you? I think you wanted to come back in. Obviously, when I was talking to Steve about a bounce and more money spent on sacking another manager and all of this stuff. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say something crazy because I don't want this guy, but I do want what he was trying to do. And that's what Rude was trying to do. Is he said last year that he wanted to rebuild the team around Jeremy Monga, Jake Evans, Henry Cartwright, a lot of the young players, right? Now, I don't know, maybe if we had tried that from the start, we might still be in this position. We'd be like, what is the manager doing? Bring in the senior pros. But now that we have tried the senior pros, as it hasn't worked, as you say, if you just bring in another manager and all they do is pick the same players, you're going to pretty much get the same result. So why not? I mean, even though he got sent off by Luca, you saw the athleticism that he brought to the team. Like everyone's saying it in chat, and it's right. Rude figured out that Vestergaard and Winks were problems, and he didn't want them in the team. He realized that. Now he was still a terrible manager, and I think it was the correct decision. Well, I know it's the correct decision for him to go because I've burnt my turtleneck on the stream, or cut it up rather. We're pro health and safety here on the blue tinted glass. Let me tell you, but. He had the right idea. He just was bad in his execution, right? Because he stunk the place out. So what I would say, what I would want, and I think this is realistic, we made 3 loan signings. You're allowed 5. That means we got 2 more we could make. We could probably send Carranza back as well, maybe. So you could still bring, all right, let's just say we can't. So we're bringing 2 loan signings and maybe we sign 1 other player on a free transfer. And you get fairly decent young players that give yourself athleticism and give yourself a new lease of life. You try and play as many of those players in the team at once. I think if results might be, I think performances would be better. You'd see a more team that wants it a bit more. Maybe the quality is a bit worse, but given where we're on the league table, I think it can improve things. And maybe you do bring 1 or 2 players back. Maybe Henry Cartwright, he was talked about by Rude, seems to be doing okay in Scotland. The problem is in Scotland, the level's very hard to judge, right? It's somewhere between Championship and middle of League One. So, if he's on the lower end of that, that's no good. If he's on the top end of that, maybe he's good enough. But he is a midfielder, which we're crying out for, and he's a ball-playing midfielder, which we're also crying out for. So that could be something to say. So that's personally what I think we could do, what I'd want to see. And I think, given that this season of write-off, Locks is just about to absolutely flame me to Kingdom Come. But that's what I personally would want to see. And I think if you play Vestergaard and you can't play a certain style that would work better with our team, which is to have a more athletic, high-pressing style, you've got to play this slow, patient football, because otherwise, as you see when we played against Southampton, is that there's too much room in behind. So you either have to stick back and counter-attack, or you have to play super slow possession football, which doesn't work either.
Yeah, I look, my whole view on this is if Marti or the new manager plays a load of youth and they get spanked, that manager, whether it's Marti or somebody else, is going to get just as much criticism.
Spanked. We've been spanked in the last 2 games.
No, but my point is that this is how football fans, all of us, this is what we do. We big up players who aren't in the team because they're not in the team. And when they're in the team, then we big up the players who have come out of the team and are no longer in the team, right? I mean, Winks and Vestergaard, coming back to Steve's point earlier, for me, at the start of the season, they did not start. They did not start in that Sheffield Wednesday game. There was the next 2 as well, I think they didn't start. They would come off the bench when we were struggling and improve us quite a lot. Like Harry Winks improved us massively when he came off the bench. Wout Fass was used to see out games and he did it very well. He scored a goal against Sheffield Wednesday. So they earned their place back in the team. Now, agreed, they should now lose their place in the team, right? Because they're just not good enough now. But what is the point in... Where is the incentive for players putting in good performances if they can't get in the team when they put in those performances, right? So if Harry Winks now, if let's say he's dropped this weekend, if that's it, if he's just never coming back, because what a lot of fans are saying that he should never come back, then where is the incentive for him to try when he is needed, when he is brought on in the 70th minute? Where's the incentive for him to put a shift in if he knows that I'm exiled anyway? That's where I'm with at the minute, Steve. I actually think it's good man management. People are accusing Marti of bad man management for using Winks and Fast. I actually see it as good man management because they were exiled, they earned a place back, and now they're back in the team. But I agree they should be gone now.
So on that, I've brought up in the past the issue with Winks and these players that are contracted in the summer, come January, February time, if they've not got to move in that window, they don't put the full effort in anyway. Look at when we got relegated the first time. You know, Tielemans clearly down tools for the last sort of 3 or 4 months, put in 60% effort, and it had a massive effect on how we performed on the field. If we're playing Harry Winks up until that point, and then he goes, well, I don't want to get injured, so I'm going to sort of, it's a nothing season. We're not getting relegated. We're not getting promoted. I'm not going to put the effort in anyway. Then it don't really matter, does it? You know, I would rather draw a line in the sand now and say, okay, mate, look, we're not going up this year. We're going to get a points deduction or whatever. You're not interested. Find a club in January. Just go. Look, we won't even accept a bid for not even any money. Just go on a free. Take your wages with you and go. We don't want to pay anything. At least that way we know where we stand. But I agree in the sense of like, you know, what's the motivation to get back into the side? But I would caveat with they're out of contract anyway. I don't think they really care. And that's the main issue. I just don't think they care. Even if they weren't in the side, I don't think they care. Harry Winks spent 3 or 4 months of last season, you know, whilst we were getting relegated at Liverpool, sat outside in a park drinking a martini or whatever he was drinking, you know. So do they really care? That's it, an apple spritz, yeah. So do they really care? I don't think they do. So take the decision out.
Though, Steve, is you think like, especially like, I'd feel like a Samare at this point, you know, obviously out of contract in the summer, most likely going to be going into not staying in England. You think he'd be fighting, you know, these sort of players, you know, like Winks, because obviously he went to Sampdoria, didn't he, at one point? You know, if they're looking for a move abroad, you know, they can start getting them pre-contract agreements in January. So you feel like they should be putting in that effort now to get that contract. And, you know, if they don't get that move in January, that they'll be fighting for a contract, you know, if they're trying to stay in the UK for the end of the season. But like you said, I feel like this is the contract they got now at Leicester is going to be their biggest contract they're going to get. So wherever they're going to go to next, they are going to be on a lesser contract. So as much as it'd be great just to say, look, you just go in January, they're not going to want to because they might be taking a 50-60% pay cut. So they'll think, well, I'll just sit on my arse here at Leicester for the next 6 months and go on a free and get that big sign-on fee.
If they do sign a pre-contract in January, whoever it is, then I wouldn't play them anyway. Because they're already out the door. You know, my boss has a philosophy, and he's done it throughout his career. If a person finds a new job and says, "I'm handing in my 3-week notice for you," he goes, "Just go now. Just go now." You know, there's no point. You don't put the effort in anyway for the last 2 weeks, so just go. So if they do sign a pre-contract, just don't play them because they don't care.
I mean, and Neil, I find it a complete mind fuck this season that every week, you know, it was like 3 weeks ago, Neil. We were watching. I can't remember what game it was, and we were saying like we were defending Winks a little bit, saying he's putting in some challenges there, like he is getting stuck in, and now we're here sat saying he's not trying. So, and again, like in the first half, the players looked like they didn't give a shit. In the second half, they were fucking up for it and they were going for it. So, for me, it's a complete. My mind is just blown every week. I can never decide whether these players. Not just trying, but are they playing for the manager? Because I actually still think, Neil, and people in the chat will disagree. I know Imran disagrees. I still haven't decided. I'm not sure if they are or not. I think there's a good few of them that still are. There is a good few of them players that are still putting a shift in, but there's just too many that aren't, in my opinion.
Well, that's the issue, though. I mean, look, Wings is an interesting one. The thing is, because this talks about your previous point as well. I think earlier in the season, bringing them back in the team made more sense because it's like if you could get off to like a hot start, which it looked like, right after the first 10 games, I think we're in 3rd or 4th position. So at that point in time, you're like, okay, do you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, let's use these guys. They're only here for 1 season, but if they go out in a blaze of glory, we'll sort of say, well, do you know what? They're a pretty decent player for us, right? They helped us get promoted twice. We will wish them the best. Off they go, and we can bring someone else in. So that I think was fine, and I think the way that Marti handled that situation was actually quite impressive in my opinion. But the problem is now, sort of 10 games later, and now we're really finding out where the team is that now there is, I think we've just got management sometimes is about making those difficult decisions. You know, the GOAT, Alex Ferguson, how many times did he drop like absolute, genuine world-class players like Jaap Stam, David Beckham, Ruud van Nistelrooy himself, Ince, Keane, so many, right? And sometimes he would do it and the team actually got worse. Like, it wasn't even arguable. The team actually got worse, but he did it because he thought long-term he could build a team up better. So maybe you've just got to take it on the chin now and you realize it's different. If right now we were still in the playoff positions and contending, then I'd be like, well, these players are difficult, but somehow we've still got to find a way for them. But right now, as per your point, if we know how motivated are they going to be when we need them and they don't really want to play, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's time now to just, write it off, so to speak, in terms of finances and move it on. That's where I think a lot of fans are seeing it, because otherwise you're not really going to see much more. And I think, for example, the highlight of this season has got to be Jordan James, right? That's some fresh impetus into the club, actually gives a shit, properly giving it some, already pulled off some incredible moments. Like, what a goal that was, even though we ultimately lost the game, trying to get us back into it. So those sort of players are still around. There are still young, hungry players that want to do it. Like I say, we still got 2 starts, even if it's just loans. So we can definitely find these players. So I think it's time to kind of do that and just accept that. Because otherwise, like I say, I think if we just keep doing what we're doing now, I'm going to do too much better. Although I will keep saying that I think the way that we're set up ultimately is not going to work with the players we've got. That's the most disappointing thing for me with Mike. I still think if you just played, I know that I am turning into Imran, but honestly, I think with this team, if you just played 4-4-2, you probably would get better results than whatever he's trying. So that's a bit disappointing. I don't think we should be, where is it, 15th in the table? That's
16th.
Horrendous. Oh my God.
Do you want to know the maddest thing? We are
8th I would accept. 8th even I would accept. But 16th, come on. This is like, although I know we're only 4 points off playoffs. Yeah.
The mad thing is, Anil, we were 16th. If I'm not mistaken, we were 16th in the Premier League when we sacked Cooper, and now we're 16th in the Championship. So, do you want to see the perfect showcase here, Steve, of what Leicester fans are like? This was on Saturday.
Yep.
Marti out 75%, and today it's Marti in 53%. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
75% out to 53% in. I mean, that just shows, doesn't it, Steve, that people just, after a few days, they calm down a little bit, get ready for the next rage, which will be this weekend.
Yeah. If we lose at the weekend, it will be the same again. But I think, like myself, everyone's so reactionary at full time. You've seen with the way that player ratings have gone, if we lose, everyone gets a 1 or a 2 or a 3. If we win, they get a 7, 8, 9. The problem is there's been too much of that. I said it at the weekend, just give me 3 or 4 boring 1-1s, just to steady the ship a little bit. Take me up. As long as we stay up, I will take a 1-1 draw every week until the end of the season. More than happy with that, but it won't be the case. And annoyingly, obviously, it's not a derby really, is it, the weekend? It's not a derby, but it is, but it's not. So if we lose that, I think he goes. If we win, he stays. But then if we lose the next week, he goes. It's all over the place. I'm on the fence still. I don't know. Honestly, I'm so fed up with this football club at times that I just don't know where to turn.
Yeah,
you feel almost numb, don't you, with some of it?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now, Adam. Mate, I'm just getting number and number. I wanted to just quickly show this because Steve shared it. It didn't come to my mind, but now that he's played it, hopefully you can hear the audio. Give me 1 sec. For those that watch this type of content, you'll know what this is.
Easy top 3. Easy top 3. If I'm not 16th.
16th. Yeah. He's absolutely right. Adam. I mean, there's a comment here which says, where is it? Let me find it. Is it Marti's style of football that some players don't want to play? What are your thoughts on this? Because we know that when Enzo left and we brought in Cooper, they were clearly missing Enzo. In fact, they even said it on a Beckin sign in Copenhagen. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this? Because obviously we talk all the time about whether the players are suited to it, whether we have the players to play this brand of football. What about you? What are you making to the style of football that we currently play?
Well, it's just like B-Tech Enzo for me. We're trying to play out from the back. You can even see, just for me, like when I was watching Enzo football, what you'd always see is goalkeeper get the ball, Winks comes short for it, plays it out to the right centre back, left centre back. I was like, always you see it from Enzo, and you still see it now. But I feel like we can't play another style of football. Like, I would love us to be up there, aggressive, winning your second balls, high line, but you can't play it with Yannick Vestergaard. And I think one thing that we're talking about in terms of style of play is we are missing the 2 centre backs in Aluko and Ben Nelson who would allow you to play that high line. With Faz and Vestergaard, we know even just Championship or Premier League. I mean, I always think to that Everton game last season when them 2 balls literally just went straight over the top and they just scored straight away. I I feel like we are struggling for that, to play any differently. I'll be honest, like in terms of without the ball, I feel like we do need to sit deeper, and he was doing that. And then against Southampton, I don't know what he was doing. Like I saw when I saw Yannick Vestergaard on the halfway line, because you got Yannick who's too slow and Faz who's too rash, and you literally just ask him for the balls just to be ran out basically. So I feel like we need to change style of play, but I do also feel like we need the players, like especially them centre backs. We need different profiles, or obviously when Aluko and Ben Nelson's back, we can play two centre backs with a bit of speed. So if that ball goes over the top, we are a little bit more covered. And then obviously you got Begovic. I can't see him being a high sweeper keeper coming out for the ball. So yeah, I feel like we are slightly stuck in terms of because of the player personnel.
I mean, Anil, this is one thing that Imran talks about a lot: the style of football and this and that. I mean, I always say to Imran, well, what style of football should we play? I mean, what type of manager do you think, if Marti goes, we should be looking for, Anil? Because are you looking at more of the character or the personality of the manager, or are you looking for, a manager that plays a certain way that's going to be able to kind of get us out of this mess that we're in?
For me, for where we are right now as a club, I think you just got to sacrifice playing style, right? You just need to get someone who can get a bit more consistent performances. But the thing with Marti, as I've been saying to you, just from a tactical point of view, I think he's a bozo. Like Adam's just mentioned the Southampton game. But earlier in the season, for example, although hopefully that's not meant at me, but meant at Marti, right? So earlier in the season, he started trying to be quite proactive in games. Then we go away to Preston and they beat us. And they beat us because we had a high line. So the next game is against Charlton and he sits much deeper and we win. We win really ugly, but we do win. And you look at the pitch position and everyone's sat back and there's 2 proper CDMs in and we get the points. Then we play Birmingham. That's funny because a lot of people think we played well against Birmingham. I don't. I think we played quite badly against Birmingham. But you know what? We beat them. And again, we basically contained them. We let them have the ball. We took our opportunities. We got the point. So I actually thought that was quite good management because I thought, okay, this guy gets it, right? His plan A is not working, but he can find the way. He's addressed his weaknesses by sitting back deeper and letting the other team have it. It means Yannick's not going to get caught out in the counter-attack and we've got pace on attack, so it's going to be pretty effective. But then I think he's obviously got a bit of the ego and he wants to play his style and be proactive and be attacking. Maybe he has heard the criticism that there was no, the performances were poor, but the performances have got even worse despite trying to attack. So that's not the way to do it. So that's my real concern, Docs, is like if he kept trying, I think that is true tactically in that, because if he was doing other things, right, and because that's the thing, in those first 10 games, we didn't have one good performance, in my opinion, not a proper 90-minute performance, but you had to say, this is pretty impressive. The guy's come in, we're third in the table. He's dealt with these want-away players. He's got some of the new players coming in. Mong had come in and scored a goal. Wow, this guy looks like he's the one. This looks like a great hire. And then I don't know what's happened, but he even got players in the transfer window and he shit the bed. So I don't know what he's doing. So I think another manager would come in, if they were more pragmatic or smarter, they would play more of a counter-attacking style. They'd get rid of 1 or 2 of the people that clearly are bad eggs in the dressing room and have a fairly compact block and just hit teams on the break. And look what happened when we played Southampton. Like I said, their style, which they changed after Will Still left, as they went away from possession football. They played in a kind of mid-block and just on the counter-attack, they only put 4 men forward, but they attacked with so much pace that they caused team problems. And I think we've got Steffi Mavadidi, Abdul Fatawu, Jordan James, Patson Daka. That's just for right now. When Aaron Ramsey comes back, I don't believe we couldn't forget a B-Tech. I think we can make a version that's at least as good as them, if not better. And I think we could start getting some results out of it. So I'm not expecting us to go on some insane run and hit the autos or anything like that. But and like I say, I don't know what this manager is doing, right? He's not trying something different. He's not addressing the obvious concerns. So yeah, I would like to see someone come in who hasn't got that. But to be fair, what's happening is we're just getting worse and worse managers as they go away because their jobs are becoming less and less appealing. So, after Cooper went, you're thinking, Rude can't be worse than Steve Cooper, can he? He can. And now you're thinking, can Marti be worse than Rude? And in my opinion, I think he is. Okay. Well, yeah, because the thing is, and Imran is right, if you look at the team relative to the other teams in the division, he's underperforming way more, right? Because say what you want about Rude, but ultimately we did finish above 2 teams, right? And if you look at the squads in the Premier League last year, that is probably right. In fact, maybe you could even say we slightly overperformed because Ipswich spent a ton of money. But this season, I am not having it. We are not this. Yes, I know our players aren't the best. Yes, I know our squad isn't the best. It's not the 16th best team in the division. That's bullshit. It's at least top 6, and it's better than that. You know it is. Rant over.
On that point though, sorry, just really quickly. And Neil, what you're saying about like changing the tactics per game, it always seems like if a player has 10 minutes of a good performance after coming on from the bench, they go straight into the side as well. Every time we see, I don't think we've had a set 11 from the start of the season all the way till now. I know we've had injuries and suspensions or whatever, but like with Bobby De Coveri, he scored against West Brom, so he came into the next game and didn't even play great. He just scored a goal. And it just seems to be continuously, well, he's played well for 10 minutes, let's bring him in. So you guarantee on Saturday, Samara will play because he had a good second half. Skip will play probably at centre-back if Fast can't play. You say that, but you can see it happening because that's the way that Marti thinks. So, you know, I just feel like he's panicking. And that's why we.
But that's not just how Marty feels, Steve. That's how all of us feel. We do this. We see Bobby Reid score off the bench, and we say Bobby Reid should start the next game. It's not just Marty, right? We all say it.
No, but we're not the manager, so I'm not sitting there going, Bobby, come on, mate. You've had 15 minutes of decent performance. You're coming in. Like Marty needs to say, well, actually, you're 15 minutes. Like we're gonna. Okay, JJ can't play in the 10, so we're going to play you here, Bobby. We'll give you 3 or 4 games. We'll give you 45 minutes, 50 minutes. It's not worked out. Someone's come in and given a 20-minute good performance. We'll bring him in instead and drop Bobby. You know, it doesn't build any confidence in the starting 11.
But if he didn't change the starting 11, in my opinion, Adam, the fans would be moaning about that as well, saying, well, if so Mavididi came off the bench and scored in one of the games, and then he started the next one. Imagine he hadn't have started the next game. We'd all be saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing, Mai?"
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you from personal when we beat Norwich, Bobby Reid come on, and for me, changed that game completely. And then he didn't start the next one, and I was like, "Well, where's the consistency there?" And then I agree with you. I can see Ollie Skip at centre back. I mean, I'm very concerned about that, but I can see it. I know. But honestly, I completely agree with Steve because I can see it happen, and I really don't want to. I mean, I've watched in that second half. Like I feel like how the reason Sheffield United was able to slow the game so much is because they just used to, they got it up to Bamford. Bamford just pinned him, understandably, because he's like 5'4", Ollie Skip is. But yeah, I do think I think like our problem is because we've not got a lot of good performances going on. When we see someone come on for 5-10, and probably the manager thinks the same way, we think, oh, that's a spark. That could start something. And then the start and the shit. And you think, well, where was that performance last week when you come on and changed the game and then you started and then you're getting hauled off after 50 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, would you agree with this, Steve? The comment from Imran who said counter-attacking is the only way for us, absorb the pressure and break quickly. Because I fear we're not able to absorb pressure. I think us absorbing pressure equals a goal.
Well, you saw the pressure on Saturday in the first minute. They countered. Well, they put pressure on Thomas, on Mavididi, who then passed the ball back to Winks, who miskicked it. And so we panic no matter what happens. So I wouldn't want to see us absorbing the play and counter-attacking because I just don't think we're good at that. I don't know what we're good at. That's the main issue here. I don't know what this squad is good at now. We've got a mismatch of 4 or 5 different managers. There needs to... And this is the
Hang
point
on a minute.
I
want to jump in on that one, right? Because no offense, Locks is rinsing this all the time as well.
Man.
It really makes me angry when he says it. How many players did Ruud van Nistelrooy sign?
I'm not including Van Nistelrooy. I'm not including Van Nistelrooy. I'm not even including him.
Who are you including?
Claude Puel, Brendan Rodgers.
Mate, all the Claude Puel players are gone.
Nah. Ricardo Pereira. Ricardo's there. Ricardo's there. But you can't deny it. It's 5 managers, man, right? You got Claude Puel, Brendan Rodgers, Enzo Maresca, Oliver Skip, Steve Cooper, who is Oliver Skip, and Marti Cifuentes. That's 5 different managers that
and
this
you
team
could
has been
technically
assembled
include Ruud if you include the youth that he's brought through as well.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose you could include it, which would make it 6. So, I'll say in Nil, it's probably wrong to rinse it because that is football. That's what happens in football. But that doesn't change the fact it's true. It has been built by 5 different managers. Well, how do you disagree?
Because a lot of those players were signed to play the same style of football, which is possession football and keeping it, hence passing out from the back and playing it sideways and back. And a lot of those managers didn't sign anyone. The one that I will agree with is that the players that we signed under Steve Cooper were very different to the usual profile that we would sign. And those ones did cause major problems. So that one I think is fair enough. But I think this is not a situation like Man United where they've drastically changed the style from counter-attack under Solskjaer to transition football under Ten Hag. And now they want to go possession football under Amorim, and they've spent a shit ton. That's the team that's actually done something like that.
Anil,
yeah.
If we get a manager and want to play counter-attacking, that is a switch up in style. That will be a switch up in style using a squad that's been built by possession-based managers.
Well, but we played a style that created counterattacks, but from possession football under Enzo. So you can there's still 50% of that is true. So I think you can.
There's pace. Yeah, there is pace.
Which we have.
To do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got the ability to find passes. So, yeah, anyway.
But yeah, go on. I can't even remember the question I asked you, Steve.
Sorry, I've derailed everything.
Yeah, my point is
counter-attacking. Do you want counter-attacking football?
Yeah,
would you be happy to see that?
I'd be happy to see it, but what you said is correct. I can't imagine we're going to be any good at it. You know, I don't know what we'd be good at, and that's a positive point in Marti's category. Okay, whilst he's not been great tactically, if you keep flip-flopping without bringing the technical director in, who has a vision for the club, you know, you're going to be back in the same situation where we're going to appoint another manager. The new technical director is going to come in January, February, March. He might not like the manager we've got, so we then have to sack him again to bring in somebody else. So at this point, you sort of maybe stick with Marti because we're not in the relegation zone. We're not getting relegated. Wait until we get the technical director and then let him make the decision. Because then also it takes the pressure off the club, off the John Rookin and top, from the fans who are saying, oh, fucking hell, they're going to be making the decision. Fuck's sake, it's a joke. No, let the technical director do it. Then they can be like, it's not our problem. We went with what this guy wanted, you know?
Yeah. What do you think to this, Adam? I mean, Frankie says counter-attacking only works if you can defend, and we can't.
Yeah, I feel like our defence, because I feel like when we were talking about like counter-attacking, 100% that forward line can do it. I feel like our forward line could do multiple different styles of play. But for me, and I've said for a long time, our defence is our worst area of the pitch. I would say with balls in the box though, like I know we conceded late on, I know, but the Middlesbrough game, that second half, we did defend balls into the box very well. It was just that last moment of concentration, and I do feel like maybe he was looking at a counter-attacking point by having the three centre backs. We were playing Okoli at right back. Maybe he was thinking about going down a counter-attacking, approach. But I do believe if I had to pick anything, I would pick counter-attacking football for this squad. I just feel like you need a partner, or even two better centre backs. I think even put Okoli or Nelson next to Vestergaard, it would make that squad, make that defence look so much better. I just think Faz has just got just mental moments, and that's why you can't trust him to defend. For me.
Well, Ben Nelson's injury was just it was just so unfortunate, right? Because I mean, Anil, this isn't true though, is it? I mean, aren't we second for possession in the league? It's just what we do with it is the problem. We can keep possession. That's not a problem.
Well, you could argue everything's a problem this season, but coming back to like the counter-attacking thing, I think one of the reasons we can't defend of recent is because we're pushing everyone up. Like I say, the games where we've not done that, like Birmingham, like Charlton, like some other ones, we've been pretty good defensively. So it might be a bit less enjoyable to watch because, we're not going to be the protagonist so much. But to be honest with you, I feel like in most of our games, we're not doing that anyway. Like, all we do is just twaddle around with the ball at the back. We're not like we're really asking questions. Like, for me, the big disappointment is actually, to be honest, that Sheffield United game, the second half was probably the only time I've seen a half of football where it looked like we were just relentlessly attacking for every minute of the game. Although ironically, until we got our second goal, and then I felt we didn't do that anymore because they time wasted, right? So because we're not doing that, I think we could do it, and we should try. Look, who knows, right? It could be one of those things that we did try and that doesn't work even. We've got even deeper problems, right? But yeah, it's definitely not. Plan A is definitely not working. I think our players, if they can be used in the counter-attacking way, and it worked because other teams are doing it right now this season, and I think they're getting better results despite not having players as good as we have. And right now as well, everyone's coming up and they fancy getting a result against Leicester. So it can be one of those when people stop paying you the respect, you can start taking advantage of them. A title-winning season, we got a lot of points early doors because everyone turned up at the King Power thinking, oh, these lot are going down, so we're going to go here for the win, and they get spanked. I'm like, shit. Then second half of the season, then you had people like Tony Pulis counter-attacking our counter-attacking style because they're like, fuck, actually, if you get a point away at Leicester, that's a good result now. So, you know, now that we're shit again, hey, we can just give the ball to the other team and pick them off and get some easy points. Why not?
Steve, I mean, there's a comment here which says, how far is Okoli? So ignore the Okoli, but I think Okoli's January. I think he's going to be back, and Nelson might be sooner. But you know, Terence mentioned here, Brandon Cover from Fleetwood. And I'm going to put him in the same box as Henry Cartwright, as Sammy Braybrook, as Nathan Opoku I saw this week. These players, Steve, I mean, come on, man. Like, these guys are playing in League 2, in League 1, in SPL, for bang out, well, shit teams. Man, I don't understand these calls. I don't understand it. We're expecting players to come from League 1 to be our saviours, and they're miraculously going to be better than Harry Winks. Behave.
Yeah. I think you can probably play the bozo alarm for that sort of, for the lone players that are out at the moment, you know, because I don't think Sammy Braybrook would make the step up into the Championship. He'll go to League 1. He'll come back in January and go out in League 1. Brandon Cover, is he better than the right back we've currently got? Ricardo Pereira? I mean, Ricardo's not on form at the moment, but I wouldn't say he's a better player, you know, and it only takes Ricardo to have a couple of good games and he's back in his form. He just looks a bit gone. Is Braybrook better than Skip? Probably not. Is he better than Samare? No. Is Cartwright better than these players? No. And I don't think they'd make the step up. I honestly think that they've gone out on loan to find a club that will take them at the end of the season. I don't think they'll be here come the summer, you know, because they've not made the step up, and I don't think they have the quality to make the step up. They're in that unfortunate sort of previous generation compared to the new lot coming through, like the shiny toys. You know, when you go at Christmas, you get like a brand new shiny toy. You know, oh, it's amazing. 2 months down the line, when you've got a Nintendo 64, you're not looking at that toy again, you know. And the 64 is Louis Page, Jake Evans, Monga, you know, these quality players. Yeah, but then they're anywhere near the quality that we need in this first team at all.
Yeah, Wilson Brown. I haven't got authority. He was a viewer of the channel, so hello. You're the one who could make it. I'm joking. You could play. No, I'm joking. But no, I mean, Adam, the next thing I want to talk about, mate, is the striker situation. Again, talking about signings and things like that. You know, I'm seeing a lot of people say about we need a striker in January. We need a striker. Jamie Vardy was a big talking point as well this week. Obviously, he scored 2 goals over in Serie A against Bologna. Textbook Jamie Vardy goals. My question really is: do you think a striker is the option? Is the answer? Because isn't one of the biggest problems at the minute we can't create chances? You know, would a new striker even have any chances to score from or not?
Yeah, I mean, that's my exact point. I just don't feel like we're creating enough for the strikers. I mean, when I think about this, I could think about this earlier, and I was thinking, right, what massive chances have been missed this season by strikers? And I can think of Carranza versus Swansea, comes to my mind straight away, and then Jordan Ayew against West Brom early on. Other than that, it's not like they're missing sitters. Like, you know, I really don't think that's our problem. I feel like creativity is our main issue. I mean, if you had a Vardy up there, obviously fantastic, but, you know, we're just not creating enough. And I feel like the only thing a striker can probably do more for us that we are missing from of years of enjoying Jamie Vardy is try and get the crowd up, get tackling on the keeper, get tackling on the fullback, get the crowd more engaged with the game. Because at the minute, you know, that striker is just standing up there, and bless him, Daka. I mean, he's sprinting from centre back to keeper, back to centre back, but he's getting nowhere near. So I don't feel like a striker. If you just put a striker up there, it's not going to be like, oh great, we'll sign a striker in January, we'll score 15 goals. Without the system change, there's no chance that would happen.
What are your thoughts on this, Anil? Because I mean, I had Ayew as my Leicester player of the season in our pre-season predictions. Obviously, that was on the basis that we were going to create chances. But I think you raised the stat before, Anil, that no striker has ever scored more than 10 goals in a season under Marti Cifuentes.
Yeah, and now you can see why that's the case. So I think that is definitely an alarming thing. But we are going to need a striker because my understanding is that Patson Daka is going to AFCON. I know that the Ghanaian lads aren't because they didn't qualify, but I think Zambia did. So
yes,
Well, you say that, but in my opinion, he's easily the best striker we got at the moment. So that is actually bad. I mean, that means you're going to see Jordan Ayew up top or Carranza. So because
that's not bad for Locks, though, is it? Because he's not going to be a chilly if Jordan Ayew starts playing. So
maybe. I mean, counter attack. I don't know. I mean, those two aren't going to look so good. So I think that's something that has got to be a problem. But yeah, I mean, look, there you go. The signs were there. I mean, look, there have been teams that can be dominant without having an out-and-out striker. You know, to be honest, Arsenal right now don't really have, Joker has been all right, but it's not like he's a Haaland, is he? But unfortunately for us, your wingers then have got to score, your attacking midfielders got to score, and we're not getting enough goals out of them. I think isn't Jordan James the top scorer now? So
yeah, four
from what 17 games is that's. I mean, no, you can because sometimes you can get. I mean, I showed actually we did it in an analysis show a few weeks back how. Quite often, when you look at the top 10 goal scorers in the championship, you'll get like 3 strikers and 5 midfielders. So you can get a lot of joy from midfield, but that's still not enough, even though I do think he could easily get double figures this season.
There was, I mean, we don't know about the Carranza deal. Obviously, the Edouard deal was that we couldn't send him back. So let's wait and see what happens with Carranza because, he can't get a kick at the minute. Richard says, Crepanza is the worst striker I've ever seen in a City shirt. What about you, Steve, mate? Do you think a striker would solve any problems, or would it be a bit of a waste of money under Marti bringing in a striker? If we're not creating the chances for said striker.
Yeah, I mean it would be. Because we get nowhere near the goal until we're 2 or 3 down anyway. So, if at this point, I think you focus on bringing in a number 10 and then a centre back, or maybe a left back. I think maybe a left back and a number 10 would be important because. Luke Thomas is out on his arse. Let's be honest. He's clearly not good enough, and his confidence is so low that it's dipping below the ground. You would probably look at the number 10 role. If Ramsey comes back fit, great. But look, he's had a red card. He's missed some games. He's been injured. He's missed some games. I don't know how much you can pin on Ramsey because Anil mentioned previously that if you do your ACL, the next thing to go is your hamstring. You said that a few weeks ago, Anil, before it happened. So, that. So yeah, number 10, I would say that's more important. And then, really, you could probably put Ayew up top, or Daka if he's not here, Carranza. But just somebody in the area, where we can control the play, dictate it a bit better. So yeah, I think a striker is great, but who's going to come to Leicester in January? With the money that we've got, you might as well wait until the summer and try and find somebody because we always pay over the odds for players in January. So why just get a couple of players on loan and maybe a free transfer?
Vardy on loan, anybody? Emergency loan.
They're not going to say yes to that. He's doing brilliantly, isn't he, for them?
Yeah. No chance. Yeah, I mean, Adam, how different do you think our fortunes would be if we did have an out-and-out number 10? Because obviously, Bilal El-Khanous played in the first game against Sheffield Wednesday. He got 2 assists. They were both from set pieces, but still, they all count, right? We struggle with that at the minute, set pieces. He got 2 assists in the first game. I think he actually had 3 assists. I want to say that I want to make a claim here. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. That Bilal El-Khanous is our top assister in the league this season, or if not second or third, which is crazy.
I think it's Abdul now.
Okay, oh yeah, probably is Abdul. Yeah, you're right. And then obviously Ramsey, Adam. Like we've only seen him for like 4 games because he got sent off and then he got injured. But when he has played, he's looked really good. How different do you think we would look if we did have a proper creative number 10?
Yeah, massively. And I think also it would have stopped the issue of Jordan James playing at 10 for how many games, getting him back into his proper position. Massive. I mean, we've all said about chance creation. And I don't know if I'm kind of in the same kind of saying about Cartwright stuff like that, but I'd just stick Page there for a bit. Like, he come on, he was very athletic when he come on. Obviously, got an assist against Birmingham, and then I don't think he's played again since. I mean, I know he come off the bench, but I don't think he started a game since after that. So I'd like between now and January to give Page a good run of games. Let's see if he's up for it, and then if he's not, then get a more senior 10 in. But if he is, then you can use them funds to get, like, I agree with Steve. I think left backs are main concern at the minute. And then for me, again, a centre back, going back to my point with having to play Wout Faz. But I'd like to see Page get a proper run of games in a go.
Did Page come off the bench against?
On Saturday,
yeah.
he did, yeah.
Yeah.
So Neil, do you think maybe that could be a sign of things to come? Maybe Marti is now ready to bring Page back into the fold. Maybe he could even, you never know, he could start on the weekend because he's, he obviously had that little run of games. I think 2 games he started on the bounce. He got an assist, I think, in the Birmingham game.
Yeah.
And then he kind of came out of the team because Ramsey was back, right? So Ramsey came in, and obviously I think if all of us would still agree Ramsey over Page if they're both fit. And then he went to the Under-20 World Cup or Under-19 World Cup, whatever it is. They got knocked out. He is now back. He's been back for a couple of weeks. So potentially, we could see the return of Lewis Page.
Yeah, we could do. Obviously, it remains to be seen how good he'll be. I think he's still probably best used as an impact player. But I mean, your point is if we had a quality number 10, would we be better? Absolutely, especially as most of the time the number 10 tends to be one of the best players in your team, right? I mean, Vardy's 10 right now, isn't he? For Cremonese, that's a mark of his. But it's a mark to say that you're our highest paid and quote unquote best player. The issue is that you can't be putting Page under that much pressure right now. Like I say, he should be what was happening, an impact player that comes on and then maybe towards the end of the season he starts becoming a first team player because you just can't drop him because he's adapted to things, but yeah, we should probably be using him. But yeah, I think you're right. But I think it's more that I don't still think it's really Marty's system. I just think that signing good players is going to make your team better. And like I say, number 10s, they're normally going to be a baller, right? They're technically going to be very good because they wear that number for a reason. But it is a shame because I will say that as much as I do think Marty is a bozo, there was one half, which was the first half against Portsmouth, where I actually thought we did look really, really good. Where we scored a goal, and Fatawu probably should have scored another one just before half time. And then I don't know what happened. I think both Ramsey and JJ got knackered in the second half. We didn't have I think we even got into their half. I don't know what happened. It was such a turnaround. Maybe if we'd have got into that game 2-0 at half time, our entire season could have been different because it looked like we were clicking. So yeah, maybe that is the key to the team going forward. But it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve, what do you think to this? I mean, Mark said Field Page is just a little too lightweight currently. I think in that Birmingham game, the last game he started, I think he did look a little bit lightweight. But I mean, he had bags of energy, right? He got the assist, albeit because of a poor mistake from the Birmingham defence. But if everything else isn't working, Steve, then why not?
Well, I remember a time when we signed a little Algerian winger from France, and he was considered lightweight. And then within 6 months, he was the best winger at the club. Because he was
winger in the Premier League in a year.
Exactly, yeah. So you play him, and he bulks up because you get used to the physical performance of the Championship. So maybe if at the start of the season we'd given him 6, 7, 8 games, I think he would have embedded in, and he would have been great by now. But I think it was mentioned on Jack's show last night. You guys mentioned it at the weekend. If you bed these players in early, it doesn't matter because 10, 15 games down the line, they're already up to speed in the Championship. They know what to expect. So they're not going to have these sort of, you lightweight, you're getting pushed off the ball. So I think Marty's missed a significant benefit of playing these younger lads earlier. Aluko, Page, maybe not Monga, because I think a winger's a bit of a different one. Because yes, you can have all the tricks, but you've got to be consistent. And whilst Mavididi wasn't consistent, Monga hasn't been consistent either. Even somebody exactly, Richard, Jake Evans. I don't think he should be starting, but bring him off the bench. These players sign contracts and then we're just shut in the basement again. They were like, "Oh yeah, come look at all these dazzling lights. Come and sign the deal," and then off you go. Fuck off, leave us alone. Just put your faith in them a little bit more. Because again, even if we weren't going up this year, which I still think the club wanted to go up, and that's why he's reverted back to type of the same players. If he just said to the club, "Well, you brought me in to bed these younger lads through to bring them and give them experience, give me time," we wouldn't have this issue because we'd be 10, 15 games in and they'd be playing every week.
Adam, do you think Bade Aluko might come back into the team this weekend or not, or do you think Marti's going to exile him because of his red card? What are your thoughts on that one? Because I think a lot of fans would love to see him. For me, like after a red card, after that disappointment and that frustration, throw him straight back in my opinion. Put him straight back in and say to him, go and correct what you did the other, what you did last week. Give him another start. Hopefully, it's not as tough a game as it was on paper. It definitely isn't. Derby. Would you do the same, or would you maybe use him as a substitute?
Yeah, I don't think he will play. I feel like he will still play Thomas as a bit of a safer option. I think definitely with Marti at the minute, I feel like he's going to go game by game because I feel like he's one, maybe two losses away from getting sacked. So I don't think he will play Aluko. I would, because annoyingly, I think other than the two yellers, which I know is a big problem, but I feel like he played pretty well actually. Do you know what I mean? He was Mamadidi finally had a bit of support there on that left hand side overlapping. I mean, he's never going to play the pass, but it then drags the defender out so he can cut in and shoot. So I feel like he did bring a lot, and I would start him over Thomas because I don't think again Thomas he's not been fantastic this season. He's not undroppable, and I think Aluko also gives you that pace if it goes over the top over Vestergaard. Aluko around on the cover could help Vestergaard out and allow you maybe to try a slightly higher line, not on the halfway line against Southampton line, but that a little bit outside your penalty box. Aluko can come around on that cover and sweep up almost for him.
What about you, Neil? Because again, like I'll say it again, I think it is. I would put him back in because he played two very very good wingers at this level, and he got sent off. This time round, he's going to be playing. Look, it's never an easy game in the Championship, especially for us at the minute. But it is going to be an easier day at the office, you'd imagine, than it was last week. So why not throw him in and let him build his confidence a little bit?
I actually hope he gets tried at centre back because we've got problems there. Right?
Ooh,
people are talking about Ollie
Mm-hmm.
Skip at centre back. I'm thinking you lot smoking crack. No, put Bade Aluko there. He looked good there in pre-season, so you could put him next to Yannick, and then you still probably Luke Thomas comes in. So I think that's what we'll actually see. It depends on how injured Wout Faze is, but I agree with you, Locks. I think good management, you would show faith to the player and you put him in. And do you know what? Even if he gets bozoed again and he gets sent off after 10 minutes against Derby, I'd still put him in. Maybe after 3 red cards, I wouldn't. But I would still try it because you got to start blooding these new players and get them there. And I'll say one thing. I mean, yeah, he did have a rush of blood to the head, but he was running around and trying to do stuff, right? Which
had a couple shots as well.
Yeah, and I know it sounds so crap that it's like people go, is that all you want? Just some players that run around. Yeah, right now I would take it because we're not even seeing it. We need to get the pride back in the team, right? And you know what? Do you remember when we were on that terrible spell under Ranieri and he got sacked? Craig Shakespeare, the first thing he did is he put Mark Albright and Shinji Okazaki back into the team, and the team just looked better. And it's not because those two suddenly started banging in 20 goals, because they just worked their asses off, got stuck in, got the team dynamic back, and then the rest of the players started improving. So, yeah, I think we might see him at centre-back. I would try him there. I think we're lucky, actually, that Derby, I think the striker's out for 3 months, who was one of the top scorers in the Championship. So, in my opinion, that's an even more reason to try him then, that they're without their biggest threat up front, so to speak. So, yeah, put him in.
Yeah, Steve, I mean, I don't know why I never thought about it, and Neil's just kind of given me a hint there, or made me think. Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? If we're struggling for centre backs at the moment, we're talking about we're going to play Skip. Aluko makes the most sense. He can play there. He's played there quite a bit in the academy. He's not just a fullback. He can do left. He can do right. He can do centre half. So would you agree with that? Throw him in at centre back.
So one of the main reasons we play Wout Fast at centre back is because of his recovery pace, right? We don't need Aluko is faster than Wout Fast. I think that's a good shout, to be fair, playing him at centre back, because that's a position where you're not gonna get, run ragged by a winger every 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, are you? You've got time to be, and there's players in front of you, so you can be calmer. And to be fair, having him next to Vestergaard, closer, Vestergaard can then sort of handle him a bit easier and say, don't run out there, come here, that sort of thing. So I'd give him a shout. At all. And then I think if he plays well, that's when we take Vestergaard out and we bring Nelson back in and have those two as centre backs. Because I said up earlier in the chat, is Vestergaard an issue? I think we're accommodating him too much. that a lot of our issues, because he's undroppable, because he's one of our better players this season. Actually, I think we'd be better if he dropped out entirely. But then, who's going to walk his dog? He's going to get angry again. So, we don't want that.
Well, this is an exciting prospect, though, right? If we finish the season with Aluko and Ben Nelson at centre back, Adam, that'd be a nice partnership.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like if we're in a position, where we're not maybe, we're obviously safe from relegation. Obviously, maybe we're not pushing for the playoffs as much. I feel like you'll see a load of the youngsters be coming in, and it's the right thing to do. Bled these youngsters in. And again, with having the Nelson Luca, you can play that high line like you wanted to do against Southampton because you've got the recovery pace to get him, to get back. So, yeah, I'll be wanting to see more of the youth, a lot more. I feel like Jake Evans could have played more on that as a bit of a cover for Abdul Fatawa on the right hand side as well. So, yeah.
These types of comments keep coming up, and honestly, something's going around in my mind. Like, imagine he was sacked by Leeds and Leicester went for him. I mean, I wouldn't hate that. Would anybody have any of you opposing that?
I think Leicester would go for him. That's the sort of manager I think they'd turn to in a panic. He cost a lot of money, and it was going to cost a lot when we sack him in 18 months' time. But, it's somebody that I think could do a job at the club, and he's not scared to chuck players out that he doesn't agree with. So, why not?
We'd get the famous Farker jazz hands after a win at the KP. He does this, doesn't he, to the fans?
And think of how many headlines you can use for Farker, for stream titles and stuff.
Yeah. What about you, Anil? How would you feel if in a month's time Farker came in at Leicester?
I don't know why people are so dismissive of him. For the championship, literally no one's won the championship, I don't think, more times than he has. Right? People are like, oh, he wouldn't make it in the Premier League. Bro, you're optimistic thinking we're going to be in the Premier League anytime soon is all I can say. I don't think we are, because next year as well, weirdly enough as well, with Coventry having such an outstanding season, it means that again, you're going to have more parachute teams next year. You could end up with next year having Ipswich, Leeds, Burnley, Southampton, us all in the same league. That's going to be hell. Wolves, they're going to have money to spend as well. So having someone that knows their way around the championship, he'd probably be the standout choice. And yeah, you might think, oh, well, that's just sad how much we've fallen, but we have. So
yeah, I mean, I keep hearing rumblings from a few friends that that Leeds are wanting Corberan. That's what I keep hearing. So, yeah, who knows? Unfortunately, we'll still have the same players, though. Yeah, that's true. If you want a new manager, Mark Robbins any day. I keep seeing that one as well because of the Leicester link. Won't Fast be sidelined under concussion protocol? Yeah, we don't. I still don't think we know whether Fast was dragged because he was shit or dragged because he had concussion. I don't think we know. He didn't come off straight away after the injury. But we might find out on tomorrow, right? With the press conference, we should know then. Marty should tell us.
I don't think he came back on when he got taken off. I remember because I'm opposite the tunnel, and I saw him go straight down before half time. So I don't see might be concussion then.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Robbins just signed a new contract. Yeah, there was another comment I was going to bring up here. Where is it?
Hasn't Wout Fast had the concussion the entire time he's been here anyway?
Might make him good.
Yeah, this was it. I read this as well. They just couldn't stop the bleeding, so he had to come off. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow. We'll have a press conference, I'm sure, from the manager, and I'm sure he'll be able to tell us. But hopefully he is concussed because we want to see Aluko now. And Nil's got us up for that now, Aluko at centre-back. So, right. We're going to end it there. Thank you to Anil. Thanks to Steve. Thanks to Adam for coming on. Much appreciated. Thanks to all the people in the chat as well commenting. We will be back tomorrow. We'll have a match preview as always at midday at 12 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So we'll have that match preview coming out, and then we'll have the watch along on Saturday. Another 90 minutes to sit through. Anil should be fun.
Good. Kill me now.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm free for this one if you want me to jump on as well.
More the merrier, mate. More the merrier. It'll be like that. What was that? Should I say this on stream? I'm not sure. What was the gang, or not the gang, but the there was like a suicide pact from like a load of like a gang or something. I don't know. I'm chatting shit. In America, anyway, everyone took like poison and killed themselves. So that's like how the watch along feels.
You mean like the it was a cool thing, wasn't it? Yeah, where they drank the Kool-Aid. That's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. So come and drink the Kool-Aid, everybody, on Saturday at 3:00. Come and drink it. Drink it.
Isn't it 12:30?
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
and it's
12.
on ITV as well.
Yeah,
and ITV.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if that's good or it's bad, but as I keep saying, we have a horrendous record in those 12:30 games. That's why last time I knew we wouldn't get anything either. Blackburn, Sheffield United. Why not go 3 out of 3?
Yeah, thank you, Kate. Yeah, Jonestown. So yeah, come and drink the Kool-Aid, everybody. Okay. Yeah, that's it. 12 p.m. tomorrow, match preview and watch along at 12:30. There we go. Cheers all. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Anil. Thanks, Steve. We'll see you next time.
All.
Cheers all. Bye-bye. No more 200 grand, but our new sponsors, The Beautiful Frame, have smashed it with this Jamie Vardy piece. It's unreal. They're a local Leicester business as well, which makes it even better. And not just City, they do prints for other clubs as well. So it's perfect if you are stuck for a birthday or Christmas present for one of your friends or family. Now, the best bit, they have sorted BTG viewers out with a discount. Just use BTG12 at checkout for money off. BTG12. Grab yours now at thebeautifulframe.com. The link is down below.